Most people decide how much respect you deserve within the first 7 seconds of meeting you. And here is the kicker. They aren't even listening to your words. They are reading your signals. We've been taught that to get respect, we have to be loud, aggressive, or alpha. But that is a lie. Real respect is much quieter. It's about the invisible lines you draw around yourself every single day. I'm Stickman Academy, and today I'm going to show you the 18 silent signals that are secretly sabotaging your life. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how people have been reading you, and more importantly, how to change the script so no one ever crosses your line again. Stick around, because the 15th signal is the one that changed how I think about my time forever. Let's start with the signal you send before you even open your mouth. It's what I call body apology. You walk into a room and immediately try to take up as little space as possible. You round your shoulders, you tuck your chin, and you pull your energy inward. You are essentially apologizing for existing in that space. People feel this instantly. They don't think that person is humble. They think that person isn't sure they belong here. But here's where it gets interesting. Respect doesn't start with a big chest-puffing display. It starts with stillness. I once watched a person enter a crowded room. They didn't say a word. They didn't fidget or scan the room for approval. They just sat down with a deliberate, calm presence. People instinctively leaned toward them. They didn't take space. They simply occupied it. When you stop fidgeting and start being still, you tell the world you are comfortable in your own skin. This leads us to the second signal, and it's a trap I fell into for years, over-explaining. Have you ever said no to someone and then immediately followed it with 3 excuses, an apology, and a backup plan? When you over-explain, you are quietly telling people that your no isn't valid on its own. You are asking for permission to have a boundary. But guess what? No is a complete sentence. So is yes, and so is I'd rather not. When you stop justifying your every move, you stop training people to feel entitled to an explanation. Think about the most respected people you know. They don't give a PowerPoint presentation on why they can't make it to dinner. They just say they can't make it. That silence after a no isn't empty. It's full of self-respect. Now, here is a pattern interrupt for you. Did you know that people who laugh when nothing is funny are actually viewed as less trustworthy? This is the third signal, the nervous laugh. You do it to ease tension or make others feel comfortable. But when you laugh at things that aren't funny, your emotions become negotiable. People stop trusting your reactions because they can't tell when you're being real or just being nice. But wait, it gets even more subtle. The fourth signal is answering questions no one asked. Someone pauses in a conversation and you rush to fill the silence by defending yourself. You treat silence like an accusation, but silence is just silence. When you pre-defend yourself, you're basically telling people, there is something wrong with me and I'm trying to hide it. Confident people let the silence sit. They wait. They don't offer explanations like their payment for being in the room. Here's a shocking fact. Being too available actually makes you less valuable in the eyes of others. This is the fifth signal, hyper-responsiveness. If you respond to every text within seconds and drop everything the moment someone calls, you are signaling that your time has no weight. I'm not saying you should play games or be rude. I'm saying you need to have edges. People don't respect what is always available. They respect what has limits. If you don't value your time, why should anyone else? We're moving into the sixth signal now, and it's about how you handle good things. When someone gives you a compliment, do you say, "Oh, it was nothing," or "I just got lucky"? When you deflect a compliment, you are literally handing respect back and saying, "This doesn't fit me." If you can't accept a small piece of praise, people will stop offering it. Learning to say thank you and letting it land is a superpower. It shows you know your worth. By the way, if you're finding this valuable, hit subscribe. Most viewers aren't subscribed yet, and I'd love to have you in the academy. The seventh signal is one we all do when we're insecure, asking for opinions when we've already decided. You aren't looking for advice, you're looking for a co-signer for your life. People can sense that gap. When you ask for approval for a choice you've already made, you tip the balance of power. You're telling them that their opinion weighs more than your own intuition. Ask for advice when you're stuck, but if you know the answer, protect it. Let's talk about your head. No, really. The eighth signal is over-nodding. You do it to show you're listening, but it often comes across as eager or desperate for approval. You can listen without performing. A still, focused gaze shows way more presence than 100 eager nods. The ninth signal is something I didn't catch in myself for a long time. The lack of a pause. When someone finishes a sentence and you jump in before the period even lands, it shows you are reactive. It means you're not choosing your words, you're just reflecting back whatever was thrown at you. A 1-second pause before you speak changes everything. It gives your words weight, it makes you look thoughtful and unbothered. But here is where things get serious. The 10th signal is letting people interrupt you. This is a test. Even if the other person doesn't realize they're doing it. The first time they cut you off, it's an accident. The third time, it's an expectation. You don't have to yell, you just have to finish your thought calmly. Keep talking at your own pace. You're allowed to say, "Let me finish." Don't disappear just because someone else decided to be loud. The 11th signal is a trap disguised as a virtue, over-delivering without being asked. You work twice as hard as everyone else hoping someone will notice and respect you, but usually the opposite happens. You train people to see your extra as the baseline. It becomes invisible. Stop using exhaustion as a strategy for respect. Doesn't work. Boundaries make your effort visible, not overworking. The 12th signal is about emotional distance. If you're always the one reaching out, double texting, and checking in while the other person leans back, you've created a hierarchy. You're the chaser. Some people will let you chase them forever because it's comfortable for them. Stop. Pay attention to who matches your energy. Respect is a two-way street, not a marathon. You run alone. Now, think about the jokes you tell. The 13th signal is self-deprecating humor. You think you're being relatable or showing confidence by beating people to the punchline, but often you're just handing them a script on how to treat you. There's a line between being playful and being self-erasing. If you constantly put yourself down, don't be surprised when others start to believe you. 14th, the eyes. Do you break eye contact first? Every time? It signals that you're uncomfortable being seen. You don't need to stare people down like a predator, but practice holding that gaze just a second longer than feels natural. It shows you aren't afraid to be in the conversation. Here it is, the 15th signal I promised, saying yes when you mean no. You do it because you're afraid of conflict or being unlikable, but people can't respect a boundary they don't know exists. You don't get what you deserve in this life, you get what you tolerate. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're telling the world that your peace is for sale. You are allowed to disappoint people to remain true to yourself. The 16th signal is one of my favorites to talk about, justifying your emotions. When you're upset and someone asks why, do you turn it into a legal case? You don't owe anyone a PowerPoint presentation on why you feel a certain way. "I didn't like that" is a full answer. When you over-explain your feelings, you give people room to argue with them. Feelings aren't a debate, they are a fact of your experience. The 17th signal is shape-shifting. You change your opinions based on who is in the room because you want to belong. But people can feel that lack of a core. They might not say it, but they stop trusting you. They'd rather hear a firm opinion they disagree with than a hollow one that's just a mirror of their own. Know what you believe before you walk in. Finally, the 18th signal, not protecting your peace. If someone brings chaos or disrespect into your life and you let it slide just to avoid a scene, you aren't being peaceful, you're being a doormat. Peace is something you have to defend. You don't have to fight, but you do have to be willing to say, "That doesn't work for me." Respect isn't something you demand from others, it's a reflection of how you hold yourself. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. This isn't a burden, it's your power. It means if you don't like the pattern you're in, you can change it, starting right now. When you start carrying yourself with quiet certainty, the world won't have a choice but to notice. The lines will finally be real. Drop a comment telling me which of these signals you've been accidentally sending. I've definitely been guilty of the over-explaining one myself. And subscribe if you haven't. I post new videos every week to help you draw a better life. Stay aware, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.